Shalom, my Israelite brothers and sisters. So first of all praises to our Elohim and to his only begotten son, Yahushua. So this lesson is going to be the seal and the mark of the mighty and powerful Elohim. This lesson is going to be the icing on the cake in a three-part series I've been doing on Babylon the Great. And we're going to specifically talk about how important these laws are and why we need to be keeping them. And then we're going to briefly compare the seal and the mark of the beast. But before we move on, I just want to put out a couple of things. First of all, I want to thank all of you brothers and sisters for your comments. Thank you for your sincerity. And I really mean that, but I want to put this out. And I want to make sure I make this clear out of love. Now, I'm not your pastor. I'm not your elder. I'm not your deacon. I'm not your soldier, your general, or whatever you want to call it. I don't even consider you as followers or subscribers. I see you as brothers and sisters. I say this for this reason. We are all fellow servants in this walk, brothers and sisters. And we all struggle in this walk. We all have to work out our own salvation with fear and trembling. I can fall away from this truth just like anybody else can, any one of you, if we turn our eyes away from Yahushua. That's why we got to constantly pray for one another on a daily basis, brothers and sisters. And that's what I want to continue to encourage you to do, is pray. And I pray for you all the time. There is not a day that goes by where I don't pray for you all. So another thing I want to put out is this. Now, I'm not going to have time to get to everybody's comment. I try my best to get to everyone's comment, whoever have questions. So what I'm saying, saints, I'm going to depend upon you heavily to really interact with your brothers and sisters on the comment page, because we have some brothers and sisters who have some really good questions. And sometimes I might not be able to get to them in time. So please feel free to interact with your brothers and sisters. So that's all I wanted to put out. So we're going to go ahead and continue with the lesson. So as we're waking up by the tens and the thousands, by the Spirit of the Most High, we're starting to see a lot of things happen on this earth. And we're truly living in the last seconds of this earth history. And we're starting to see the symbolic plagues fall at an unprecedented level. Now, I'm going to tell you something, saints. When it rains, it pours. And right now, it's just sprinkling. And the destruction that we see coming upon these heathens, this ain't nothing. The floods, people strung out on heroin, the fires, the high rate in suicide rate among the heathens. This is nothing, brothers and sisters. We're going to see an increase, and it's going to start to pour like crazy. And when the Most High Yah begins to rain down his full fury upon the heathens, we ain't seeing nothing yet. It's going to be a terrible sight. We're going to see death all around us. And yeah, we're going to be fearful too, because we're going to be like, wow, what is going on? Well, we know what's going on and we know what's happening, but it's going to be so much. And when the Most High is ready to unleash those four winds, things are going to speed up so fast. I mean, rapidly fast. And see, this is why we don't want to be caught up in wickedness. You know, anybody can claim to be a Hebrew Israelite. Anybody can keep the laws. But you got to put those laws, commandments, and statutes into practice. You got to live it in your life, brothers and sisters. This is where we got to be. We got to be what Philippians 4 says. In verse 8, it says, finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are good, of good report, if there be any virtue, and if there be any praise, think on these things. It's a mind thing, brothers and sisters. We got to constantly hide the word in our hearts. That means we got to meditate on scriptures all the time, constantly meditating on these scriptures, practicing these set apart righteous acts. I'm saying this because we're getting ready to witness the greatest catastrophic event in world history, and that is the destruction of our enemies. We're going to see it firsthand, and we're living in some exciting times. You know, they're scary times, but at the same time, they're exciting times. And unfortunately, a lot of our brothers and sisters that's caught up in Babylon are not going to make it. A lot of our brothers and sisters who are practicing wickedness are not going to make it. The Bible says that 2/3 of our people are going to be cut off. And that's real. Now, the Most High has delayed his coming for the longest now, but he's not going to wait no longer. And when he stands up, and when he says in Revelation 22:11, he that is unjust, let him be unjust still, and he which is filthy, let him be filthy still, and he that is righteous, let him be righteous still, and he that is holy, let him be holy still. Brothers and sisters, we want to be on the holy side. We want to be on the righteous side. You do not want to be on the side of the unjust and the filthy, or you will be destroyed with the heathens. The same people who enslaved us. That's not the way you want to go out, saints. We worked too hard. We've been through too much to be kicked out of the kingdom of heaven. That's why we need to do our best to get into these laws, commandments, and statutes and practice these righteous set-apart acts, brothers and sisters. So with that being said, let us go ahead and take to the scriptures. Let's go over to Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6, one of my many favorite scriptures. And I have to keep iterating this because we are a special people. We are a set-apart people from all the nations. Verse 6, for thou art an holy people unto Elohim. The Elohim hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. This means something. This means that the Most High has chosen us over all the other nations. That's why the Most High is not dealing with these other nations. I'm going to prove that to you here in a minute. You see, Elohim made a covenant with us. He didn't make a covenant with the other nations. Let's go over to Isaiah chapter 40 and verse 17. I'm going to show you how the Most High looks at these other nations. All nations before him are as nothing. Y'all hear that, saints? All nations before him are as nothing, and they are counted to him less than nothing and vanity. And see, this is why the heathen nations are getting ready to be destroyed. And these wicked heathen devils, the very ones that claim they like you and really don't, they only want to use you for their benefits. That's right, they're going to be destroyed. All of them, not just here in America, but all over the world. And that's why we're seeing all these symbolic plagues that are starting to fall upon these heathen devils. And it's going to be a damn shame for our own people to be destroyed along with these heathens. But like I said earlier, a lot of our people refuse to come out of Babylon. And there's nothing we can do about that. I mean, you can lead a horse to the waters, but you can't make it drink. If the horse is not thirsty, it's not going to drink. Just like some of our people, you can tell them truth and truth time after time. Show them videos of truth. They're going to turn around and look at you like you're crazy. They're going to call you devil. So, I mean, that's why our people who refuse to come out of Babylon, they're such in a strong delusional curse and drug that they can't even see their own arrows. And that's why they're going to end up being destroyed along with the heathens. All right, let's go over to Jeremiah chapter 31, and we're going to read verse 33. But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel. After those days, what does it mean when it says after those days? It's talking about the last days that we're living in, brothers and sisters. Saith Elohim, I will put my law into their inward parts, and write them in their hearts, and will be their Elohim, and they shall be my people. Now, we know the Christians like to take this verse, because it talks about this in the New Testament as well. They like to take this verse and say that the laws are null and void. That nothing is further from the truth. This is talking about that we would never, his people, his chosen people, would never forget his laws, commandments, and statutes, because they will be written in our hearts. We would never forget about them, because remember, in Deuteronomy 28, it said that once the yokes of iron came off our forefathers' neck, we would be destroyed as a people, and rightly so. We had no idea who we were, And then when the Most High started waking his people up in these last days, you know, the Spirit of the Most High brought all this back to us. He's bringing our heritage back to us. He's bringing the laws, commandments, and statutes back to us. And he's putting them in our heart, and they're going to last forever, because a lot of our people are waking up, and they're waking back up to Torah, and they're keeping Torah the best way they can. This is what this verse is talking about, brothers and sisters. So when the word of the Most High says that I will put my law in their inward parts and in their hearts, that means it will be written in our foreheads, in our minds, in our hearts. And this is the seal and mark of Elohim with his people, with his chosen people that he made a covenant with. So when we're talking about the seal and the mark of Elohim, this is what's going to be sealed in us. It's going to be his laws, commandments, and statutes. Faith without works is dead. It's by our actions, what we do. That's why it's so important to get back to these laws, commandments, and statutes. All right, let's go over to Hebrews chapter 10, and we're going to read verse 16. It says, "This is the covenant that I will make with them after those days, saith Elohim. I will put my laws into their hearts, and in their minds will I write them." Now, this is Paul quoting from the Old Testament. And he's just reconfirming what Elohim is doing. He's going to write his laws and his commandments and statutes in our heart in these last days. And look how we're waking up by the tens of thousands, brothers and sisters. I mean, this awakening is nothing to play with. And the Most High is not playing around. But you got these damn devil heathens who run these seminaries, and they are teaching our people that the laws and the commandments and statutes are done away with. And this is why these wicked batches are going to be destroyed. And I'm going to rejoice on the day when that happens. I'm going to rejoice. Matter of fact, I'm going to break open a bottle of wine, brothers and sisters. I pray for the destruction of my enemies on a daily basis. And we have every right to. Our forefathers prayed for the destruction of our enemies. Go read the book of Kings. Samuel, go read how they dealt with their enemies. The Most High was not playing with these other nations, saints. So hell yes, we have every right to pray for the destruction of our enemies. Let's go over to Ezekiel chapter 20, and we're going to read verse 12. "Moreover, also I gave them my sabbaths to be a sign between me and them, that they might know that I am the Elohim that sanctified them." So who was it to be a sign between? His chosen people, brothers and sisters. And it was to last forever, forever and forever and forever. It was a sign, a seal, a mark that would set us apart from all the other nations. And the word sanctify means to be set apart for a holy purpose. So it means set apart. And remember, we read in Deuteronomy 7:6, where it says, "For thou art an holy people unto Elohim." And we are a holy people, brothers and sisters. That's why we are set apart. That's why we don't need to be participating in wickedness. We need to separate ourselves from these heathens. Let's go over to Exodus chapter 31, and we're going to read verse 16. It says, "Wherefore the children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath, to observe the Sabbath throughout their generations." Y'all hear that? Throughout their generations. So that means continually, for a perpetual covenant. This covenant is to last forever. It doesn't end like these heathens are teaching. The covenant is done away with. See, and that's the problem. The word of the Most High was never meant to be in the hands of the heathen. But we all know the story behind that. They got our scripts. They took it upon themselves to paint their own likeness. They took the word of the Most High and used it and applied it to themselves and hid our own identity from us. So now everything is coming to the light and things are starting to reverse on them. And their final moment is going to be their destruction. So we got to realize this, brothers and sisters. The seal and the mark of the Most High is His laws, commandments, and statutes. And they're going to last forever and forever throughout all our generations. Let's go over to Deuteronomy 6:25. Let's see what the law is to us, brothers and sisters. And it shall be our righteousness. Let me read that part again. And it shall be our righteousness if we observe to do all these commandments before Elohim, as He hath commanded us. This is deep, y'all. This means that the law is the righteousness of Yehoshua. It is the very fabric of Elohim. You cannot get around this. That's why it's such a big seal and a mark and a covenant between us and the Most High. It's what sets us apart from any other nation on the face of this earth. And I love this verse. I got to read this one again. It says, and it shall be our righteousness if we observe to do all these commandments before Elohim, as He hath commanded us. And these laws are not grievous. Just go read 1st, 2nd, and 3rd John. Let me tell you something, brothers and sisters. Our forefathers made the biggest mistakes by breaking the Most High's laws and commandments and statutes and going after other nations. And by following these other nations, they followed after their idols. And that, that just bugs me unto this very day. And guess what? Our brothers and sisters are still doing the same thing today. What do you think Babylon consists of? Idols worship, pagan holidays, Christianity, world religions. It's the same thing. When is our people going to really learn? We keep making the same mistakes. What is it about these damn heathens that we love so much? What is it? Why do we keep following after these heathens? You would think that we would learn after thousands of years of slavery. No, we still want to follow after the heathens. They must got some kind of crack or something that we just attracted to. I don't know what it is. But it's not going to happen again. Affliction is not going to happen again. We're not going to go in bondage again, because you know why? We're not going to be breaking Yah's laws. When the Most High sets up His kingdom, that's going to be it, brothers. It's going to last forever and ever. Let's go to Nahum chapter 1. I'm going to read verse 9. It says, what do ye imagine against Elohim? He will make an utter end. An utter end of what? An utter end of wickedness. An utter end of these heathen nations. An utter end of our enemies. I'll read that again. What do ye imagine against Elohim? He will make an utter end. Watch this. Affliction shall not rise up the second time. Why would not affliction rise up the second time? Because we're not going to be breaking Yah's commandments, brothers and sisters. His commandments are going to last forever, because we're going to look back and we're going to realize all the mistakes of our forefathers unto this present day. And we're not going to want to go back. We're not going to even dare think of breaking Yah's commandments and statutes. We're not going to do it. That's why it says that He will make an utter end, and affliction shall not rise up the second time. We're not going back into bondage, brothers and sisters. That's it. So whoever doesn't want to come out of Babylon, and any of our people that want to continue to practice wickedness, they're going to be destroyed with the heathens. So that's why we must be wrapped into the seal and mark of the living and powerful Elohim. It is His laws, commandments, and statutes. Now let's take a look at this. We got the seal and the mark of the mighty and powerful Elohim. And now we know that the laws are divided into 5 categories. We have our marriage laws, we have our ceremonial laws, we have our dietary laws, our civil laws, and of course we know that the sacrificial laws, Yehoshua fulfilled that when He came to die for our sins. We no longer have to provide a lamb or a dove or any other kind of animals to atone for sin. He is the atonement. So we have all these, and these can be found in Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. You can find all of these laws, brothers. All this is wrapped up in the 10 Commandments. It is the seal and the mark of the living and powerful Elohim. And this, brothers and sisters, not keeping this is what got us into this situation until this very day. And you look at us, and this is the reason why we're at the bottom, is because the breaking of this, which you see right before you, the seal and the mark of the living Elohim. And this, my brothers and sisters, is what the Most High is going to seal, or has been sealing, in our hearts, in our minds, or if you want to say the forehead, in our inward parts. If you want to say the hand, which represents the actions. So it's by our actions, brothers and sisters. Faith without works is dead. We have to put this into practice. We can't just keep the laws. Anybody can keep the laws, but we got to practice these righteous acts. And that's how we put them into practice, brothers and sisters. And this is serious. This is very serious. This is why the Most High is calling his people out of Babylon. Babylon is falling. This whole system, all these nations are getting ready to fall, brothers and sisters. Everywhere, wherever our people are scattered at, we're getting ready to see destruction on the highest level. And we don't want to be attached to these heathens when these plagues starts falling, brothers and sisters. I'm talking about the full-fledged plagues. Because if you're enwrapped in these heathens, when the judgment of the Most High falls, you're going to be destroyed along with the heathens. I'm sorry, but there's no other way to put it. That's why I keep saying this whole thing is about worship. Either you're going to worship the Most High Yah, or you're going to worship the beast. You can't serve two masters, brothers and sisters. You're going to have to serve one or the other. And you got a lot of our people who are claiming to be Hebrew Israelites. They call themselves Hebrew Christians. They just going by the name of Hebrew Israelites, but they still breaking the laws. They don't even have a desire to keep the laws. And their leaders are telling them that the laws are null and void. You got people like Pastor Omar, who was telling his congregation and calling the Hebrew Israelite movement a cult. But yet he wants to claim the name of Hebrew Israelite, and that's very dangerous. He better be very careful, because he's going to end up like Pastor Darby. And brothers and sisters, this thing is nothing to play with. You can't just come out and tell your congregation that you're Hebrew Israelites, and then you're telling them that it's okay to break the laws and embrace the pagan holidays. Remember, the Bible says Elohim is a jealous Elohim. And brothers and sisters, that is nothing to joke around with. He is a jealous Elohim. You calling yourself a Hebrew Israelite, but you still worshiping on Sundays. You still honoring the sun god Tammuz. What kind of mess is that? And these wicked black pastors that think that they're going to hold on to the name Hebrew Israelite, and yet they're going to continue to spit in the Most High's face by keeping Sunday worship and embracing these pagan holidays. Oh, brothers and sisters, that is a dangerous game to play with the Most High. And I'm not ashamed to say that. So these wicked pastors that are telling their congregations, yeah, we're Hebrew Israelites, but yet it's okay to break the laws and commandments and statutes and embrace these pagan holidays, you're going to die worse than the heathens. I'm going to tell you, because, like I said earlier, Elohim is a jealous Elohim. You cannot serve two masters. And you just keep watching, brothers and sisters. These wicked pastors that want to claim onto the name Hebrew Israelite and want to continue to embrace the sun god Tammuz and these pagan holidays, you're going to see how they're going to go out. This thing is no joke. That's why we got to get serious about this. Make an effort to keep Yah's laws, commandments, and statutes the best way we can. I'm not saying no one is perfect, but we got to make an effort, brothers and sisters. We can't just throw it out the window. So on that note, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about this, the seal and the mark of the beast. Now, if you haven't seen my other two videos, Babylon the Great and the Mother of Harlots, please go and watch those two videos. And like I said earlier, this lesson on the seal and the mark of the mighty living Elohim is icing on a cake in the 3-part series that the Most High has allowed me to do. So just make sure you go back and watch those two videos if you have not watched them, because I explain a lot about the mark of the beast and where the location is and what it's going to be doing in the future. So, but let's look at this right quick. The seal and the mark of the beast. Now, Out of all this, it all stems back from Nimrod. It goes back thousands of years, brothers and sisters, all the way to Nebuchadnezzar, spreading on to this very same day. So the spiritual kingdom, Babylon, still exists to this day. The practices, everything. So you got pagan worship, you got Christianity and world religions, and pagan holidays, all wrapped into paganism, brothers and sisters. So it's all paganism. And I said earlier, this thing is about worship, and that's what this is about. It's about worship. Who are you going to worship? That's why the Most High keeps stressing, come out of her, my people. Come out of Babylon. Come out, come out. How many times does the Most High have to say that for our people to get this? How many signs does the Most High have to show in order for our people to get the message? How many of our people that have to continue to get shot down by the police before our people get the message? I mean, what is it going to take? It seems like we're never learning. We keep making the same mistakes, one after another, one after another. No wonder the Most High says that we are a stiff-necked people. I see why. We're the most stubborn people on the face of the earth. And it shows. And unfortunately, brothers and sisters, two parts of our people are going to be cut off. And I hate to keep bringing this up, but I have to remind us, brothers and sisters, and the Most High is going to continue to remind us that we're going to be cut off if we're going to participate in this paganism, if we're going to participate in this Babylonian system. Now, for those of us who are awakened, this doesn't apply to you. But we have a lot of our brothers and sisters who are still caught up in Babylon. And it seems like every time we try to warn them, they turn around. It's like throwing pearls to swine. You know, you give them some truth and they turn around and rend you. You know, they want to persecute you. And that's what's going to happen in these last days. And it's going to be the very family members, the ones that your loved ones are going to be the ones who are going to turn on you and turn you in. But for the children of Israel, as we're waking up, we're seeing the hand of the Most High fighting for his people. And it's we're getting ready to see some exciting things. Now, Micah 5:15 says, "And I will execute vengeance and anger and fury upon the heathen, such as they have not heard." Y'all hear that, saints? Such as they have not heard. In other words, it's going to be so much destruction upon these heathens. It's not going to be anything like it ever in the history of this earth. That's why we got to continue to warn our people. But brothers and sisters, I know it gets discouraging. I know it gets hard. You try to warn your people and they're not listening. You're trying to tell them to come out of Babylon. You're trying to tell them that what they're into is all paganism. And they're turning around and calling you crazy. You know, just keep the fight up. Keep warning them. Just keep warning them. Don't stop. Yeah, they're going to throw darts at you. They're going to throw bullets at you, but just don't stop. And, you know, we doing our part. You've done your part. You planted the seed. And prayerfully, one day they might see it and at the last minute come to the truth. But unfortunately, we all know that's a lot of that is not realistic, because the Bible says that two parts of our people are going to be cut off. And the Most High is not going to force the will, brothers and sisters, because the Most High is not going to have robots in the kingdom of heaven. We're going to be in the kingdom of heaven because we want to serve the Most High and we want to keep his laws, commandments, and statutes. That's why we're going to be in the kingdom. You know, one of my favorite chapters is Psalms 91. And, you know, as the Most High is protecting his people, and if we're doing the best we can to keep the laws, commandments, and statutes, and we're seeking after the righteousness of Yehoshua, the Most High is going to protect his people. Because in Psalms 91, it says 1,000 will fall at their right hand and 10,000 are going to fall all around you. So as we're seeing the destruction of the wicked, brothers and sisters, the Most High is going to protect his people. And I know we're scattered all over the place. And, you know, I've been saying before that, you know, they're expecting the big one in California, the earthquake. But it's not going to only be California. It's going to be all over the place. I don't know if you've been watching the news lately or been reading the reports, but in the last couple of months, I'm talking about there's been high records of earthquakes. I'm talking about from anywhere from 2.1, 1.1 to 7.0. I mean, it's been crazy, and it's been thousands of them all over the world. And the Most High did say that when he comes back, the whole earth is going to shake. I mean, the whole earth. It ain't going to be just one location. Everything is going to shake. And like I said earlier, when these plagues starts to fall in their full strength, things are going to pick up so fast, it's going to make your head spin. And we're going to all be in amazement, especially the chosen righteous of Yah's chosen people. We're going to be in amazement. But at the same time, we're going to be a little frightened because we're going to be witnessing something that we've never seen before. You know, right now is the time to sow. And like I said earlier, I mean, it's going to come a time where Facebook is going to get shut down. YouTube is going to get shut down. You know, we're already labeled as a hate group. You know, they're coming after us with swords and all kind of things. So this is the time to spread the gospel. This is the time to witness. This is the time to do all that in, because there's going to come a time where we're not going to be able to do that. You're not going to be able to get on YouTube and find a lesson. So get what you can get now in the word of the Most High and store it in your heart and your mind so that you can have it and use it as oil so you can endure in these last days, because it's going to be those who endure to the end. So on that note, brothers and sisters, I just wanted to do a lesson. It wasn't going to be a long lesson. Just wanted to do a lesson on the seal and the mark of the mighty and powerful Elohim and how important it is. Because this thing is all about worship. And I said earlier that our Elohim is a jealous Elohim. And if you get caught in this Babylonian system, when he says it is finished, let him that is unjust, let him be unjust, and him that is righteous. But if you're on the unjust and unrighteous part, then woe unto you, because, you know, that's it. It's not going to be a second chance. And this thing is very serious. I mean, the Most High is constantly telling his people to come out of Babylon, come out of confusion, come out of this pagan worship, come out of these pagan holidays, come out of Christianity, come out of these Christian churches, come out of these world religions. He's telling us to come out of that because he's getting ready to destroy all of it. All of it is getting ready to be destroyed. And unfortunately, if our people is continuing into pagan worship, paganism, you know, and I showed you the chart earlier, it's all paganism, then the Most High is not going to have no other choice but to destroy those people. And yes, they are his people. And, you know, that's out of our control, saints. There's nothing we can do. Only thing we can do is just constantly pray for our people. So with that being said, I really pray that you saw the big picture and that you really are clear in your minds and hearts what the seal of the living Elohim is and what the seal and mark of the beast is. You know, it's the total opposite. You know, and they both are going to be in our foreheads and in our inward parts, just like the mark of the beast, because so many people like to embrace these pagan holidays, embrace their Christian churches. So it's in their minds and their hearts, their inward parts. So with this being said, I'm going to leave you with Revelation chapter 14:12. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of Elohim and have the faith of Yehoshua. So, brothers and sisters, I say shalom and stay strong.